With KOF 15 coming out very soon, it has never been a better time to get into this long-running franchise. But having a legacy this rich with dozens of different colorful characters can be intimidating for newcomers. Who is the best fighter to choose as a beginner? A question that many of you have asked and which I'll try to answer in this video. These are the characters that I personally find them simple enough to use and are my main picks whenever a new KOF game is released. However, that doesn't mean that mastering them will be equally simple. The good thing about these characters is that you don't need to be a master to enjoy playing them and win your first matches. Without further ado, here's the top 10 easiest characters to play in KOF. Starting this list with a somewhat controversial entry, Kim is a main staple in KOF and Fatal Fury series. He is a solid character who always manages to be ranked in the higher tier lists, and he is at his best in KOF 13, both design and gameplay wise. The leader of Team Korea is a partially charge-based fighter. You'll need to get used to this style of inputs if you want to pull off his Ryusei Raku, Kusajin and Hyenzan, especially the latter, which is arguably Kim's strongest asset. But he has also motion-based attacks like Hangetsuzan and Hishokyaku. What's good about Kim is that you don't need to execute complicated combos with him. His special attacks can work very well on their own and will prove useful in most situations. While he lacks long-ranged options, his mobility and the airborne techniques, including his supers, are more than enough to close distance with his opponent for some devastating taekwondo juggling. But just remember, winning with Kim is one thing, completely mastering him is another. I know it's weird that a fighter who was featured in the hardest character to master video is also part of this list. But if you remembered what I said in that video, there are two versions of Ralph Jones. I'm not gonna talk about the post-KOF 13 Ralph again. This time, we're going to focus on the original explosive soldier of the Ikari Warriors. Just like Kim, Ralph is a partially charged-based character. His strongest point is undoubtedly the damage he inflicts to his enemies. Ralph hits hard, so hard that he can create explosions with his fists. Mashing the A or C button is how he executes his Vulcan Punch. His blow-off attack is one of the fastest in the franchise and can even be followed with a combo in some entries. If the opponent is crazy enough to get too close to him, Ralph has a command grab that sends them flying to the skies before breaking them on his shoulders. Back in KOF 97, Ralph gained the use of one of the scariest supers in the series. The extra super in question being the famous Galactica Phantom, the dreadfully one punch that can't be blocked and was capable of taking a full health bar if countered. If you want to try old KOF games, you can't go wrong with Ralph as a main in your team. Andy's case is the opposite of Ralph's. He used to be a pretty complex pick in previous games, but starting from 13, he reverted to his original fighting style which he used to have all the way back in Fatal Fury and early KOF games. What makes Andy a character of choice for beginners is the fact that he doesn't have a lot of techniques. You won't need to memorize multiple chains or weird strings, but the moves he has are more than enough to make him one of the best zoners in KOF. Some might consider him a Shoto character. Andy has fast fireballs, a decent dragon punch, and Zanieken, a quick elbow attack that is perfect to close distance and pretty safe when blocked, though it does have a unique input motion to execute. Personally, I found it easier to do than regular quarter circles. Also, his signature move, Kuhadan, is ideal to attack the opponent while avoiding ground projectiles. Andy's max mode in 14 is one of the easiest to pull off and won't require a lot of inputs from you. However, expect to find his fighting style completely different and a lot less noob friendly in most older games as mentioned before, which is the reason why he isn't higher in this list. The sole ice user in KOF, Kula has a lot of tools at her disposal, allowing her to deal with all kinds of situations without being overwhelming to learn or execute. First, there is her normals that have a pretty good reach despite Kula's relatively small stature. Her ice breath, although short range, can either knock down the enemy or stagger them, allowing her to follow that technique with other attacks. She also has many anti-air moves as she can use her normals, specials and even supers to punish aerial attacks. They may look complicated at first glance, but Kula's combos are actually pretty simple, and the best part, they work the same way in all iterations with very minor changes. The only drawback I can think of about using Kula is the fact that she doesn't have a lot of health and will take significant damage if she's hit. Kula is at her best form in KOF 11, where she is considered an S-tier character. Then again, she is always a strong pick no matter what game you play. Arguably the most popular character in KOF, Iori Yagami gained the hearts of KOF fans thanks to his sick design and wild fighting style. He is one of these characters who can be enjoyed by beginners and veterans alike. Iori has control over a unique purple flame that allows him to throw fast ground-based projectiles and perform a fearsome dragon punch. That latter can even be cancelled into a super in recent games. Iori's normals and command moves are extremely effective in opening his opponent's guard and initiating deadly combos. His Shiki Aohana, a Rekka that is both fast and damaging, is one of his popular signature moves. Another strong asset of his is his Kuzukaze, a command grab that nullifies the enemy's guard and leaves them exposed to Iori's many deadly combos and supers. Much like Kula, and unlike his rival Kyo, Iori plays exactly the same way from 95 to 14. The only exception is his claw version in 13, and it appears from KOF 15's trailer, Iori will be no different from his previous versions. It's never been a better time to learn this iconic fighter. Continuing with popular characters, next is the good old hungry wolf of Southtown, Terry Bogard. Even if you've never played a KOF game before, you have certainly seen or heard of him. Terry is a well-balanced fighter with simple, straightforward moves. Like Iori, he has ground-based projectiles, but depending on the game, they may not reach the end of the screen. His burn knuckle is perfect to close distance with the opponent, and its light punch version is mostly safe on block. Crack shoot is a solid overhead technique, while his rising tackle is Terry's best anti-air option, but be mindful that it's also a charge move in most iterations. The only weak point he has is his super, Power Geyser. It's too slow to depend on it as an anti-air and extremely punishable if blocked. Thankfully, his other super, Buster Wolf, is much better, especially in catching the opponent off guard from distance. All in all, Terry has the perfect mix in offense, defense and mobility. He's been a fan favorite for so long for a good reason. Kensu is an easily forgotten and hugely underrated character in the King of Fighters series, despite being around since its very beginning. Undoubtedly, his strongest tool is his reliable fireballs. Kensu is another excellent zoner. His projectiles can be really annoying to deal with since he recovers from throwing them very quickly and they have a relatively big hitbox. He can punish whoever tries to roll to avoid them by his reverse dragon punch Ryugakusai, or simply using his sweeps, which are among the fastest in the franchise. Kensu can be very effective in the air as well, with his Ryusugeki. It's noteworthy that Kensu has an alternate version in some games where he can no longer use his fireballs. Therefore, that version plays very differently than usual, but he compensates with some new moves that I wish he could use them in his regular version as well, but I guess that would make him totally broken. If you want to play as a true Shoto character, look no further than Robert Garcia. He is to KOF and Art of Fighting what Ken is to Street Fighter. He used to have almost the same moveset as his best friend / rival Ryo Sakazaki, but as time went on, they became quite distinct from each other. While Ryo is also a Shoto character with probably the strongest Dragon Punch in KOF, I find Robert easier to play as. His kicks are his main strength, whether in his normals, his many special moves or supers. He has an impressive set of techniques to deal with any type of opponent. The only thing you may find problematic about Robert is the number of versions he has throughout the iterations. In early games, he was the typical Shoto type as mentioned before. Then he lost his long-ranged fireballs before regaining them again, but under a charge-based move. Starting from KOF 13, Robert returned to his original fighting style, which was, in my opinion, a wise decision. But if for some reason you don't like him, his friend Ryo is also a good pick for beginners, albeit a bit trickier to use. This entry is not really a surprise. King has always been a beginner-friendly character since the early days of KOF, maybe with the exception of these games where her techniques were changed a bit. King is the queen of zoners. Her Venom Strike projectiles are her deadliest tool. Not only they're fast, but she can even throw more than one at the same time. And in that one game, she can go nuts with her fireballs by changing their altitude, kinda like Sagat in Street Fighter, except King can cover 3 levels instead of 2. As a Muay Thai practitioner, she relies a lot on her kicks to come up with her moves. Her tornado kick can act as an anti-air to avoid ground-based projectiles. But her special moves are not her only tool. Her normals, especially her punches, are also quite effective. Her stand in C is ideal to punish those who try to avoid her projectiles by rolling towards King, while her crouch in C work as a solid anti-air. Finally, her max mode is one of the easiest to perform. If you're new to the series, King should definitely be a main in your team. Before getting to the number 1 spot, here's some honorable mentions. Who could possibly be easier than King, you may ask? For me, it's someone who could be considered as an amalgamation of everything that made previous entries beginner-friendly characters, and that someone is Athena Asamiya. Athena's combos are simple and her special moves work very well on their own. Her techniques are the same regardless of the game. She has a projectile with a relatively big hitbox, just like with Kensu. Athena is a fearsome zoner, one of the rare characters that never lost the use of her Psycho Balls throughout the long-running series. She has a dragon punch called Psycho Sword, which can also be performed in the air, a teleport technique allowing her to get near her opponent instantly with a fake version of it, a reflector to annoy other zoners, an air attack called Phoenix Arrow that has good chip damage when blocked with a safe on-block alternative, and even a command grab that launches her enemy in the air with the possibility to follow it with a super. Speaking of her super, it's one of her best offensive and defensive tools. It can be done in the air, and she can manually hold and launch one of her orbs even after her super hits. Athena's moves are just perfect for beginners, with one sole exception, her hidden desperate move in KOF 2002 UM. It's a nightmare to pull off. Frankly, don't even try it, it's not worth it. But other than that, you'll find your bearings instantly when playing as her, and that's why she is my top easiest character for beginners. Who is the first fighter you used when you started playing? Share your answer with us in the comments. Special thanks to my generous patrons for their support. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and why not consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching.